Welcome. This video will describe the creation of curves in hyperCAD S. We'll start with the spline. You select the points you want the curve to pass through, and a NURBS curve will be created with a degree of 3 and continuity of 2. The start and end point rules use the typical direction options to define the directions of the ends of the curve. For example, tangent to an existing curve. You can choose to close the curve, and the manipulator option will allow you to select any of the points and dynamically drag its position. If the spline is pre-selected, you can re-enter the spline command and alter it. The fitting curve is similar, but allows you to control its deviation with a tolerance and specify the degree and continuity settings. One application for a fitting curve is smoothing curves with sharp transitions like the one shown here. If I increase the tolerance, you'll see the smoothing effect. The position constraint retains the endpoints of the curve, and tangency keeps the tangency. You can choose to keep the same parameters of the original curve and/or the curve itself. The boundaries curve command creates curves along face boundaries. You can select individual boundaries or entire faces. The boundaries recognition option creates curves only on the outer boundaries of the selected faces. Sewing tolerance controls the permissible size of gaps between faces. In this case, I have a small gap between these two faces, and the boundaries are shown on both sides of the gap. If I increase the sewing tolerance, those two curves are not created. The project curves command works exactly like the project points command. You select the curves you want to project, select a face to project onto, and then specify the direction either as normal to the face or as determined by the direction options. You can project onto a plane instead of a face by specifying the plane with either existing geometry, 3 points, or a direction and origin. The helix command creates a helical curve or a flat spiral. Select the start point, specify clockwise or counterclockwise, enter the height, the pitch, and the taper, and then pick a direction and an origin. The distance between the origin and the start point will be the radius. The flat option will project the helix onto the plane, giving you a flat spiral. The intersect command creates curves at the intersection of two faces. The blending curve command creates a spline between two existing curves. First, select your curves. The position, tangency, and curvature fields control the transitions to the resulting curve. Parameter defines the start point on the initial curve, and weight determines the influence on the resulting curve. You can choose to keep the same continuity as the original curves and also automatically trim them. The join command will make multiple curves into a single curve. The number of chains is displayed, and you can choose to delete the original curves, leaving only the result. Offset will offset a curve or group of curves by a distance. Transition options are none, sharp, or rounded. The reference plane can be the plane of the selected geometry, the work plane, or the plane of an entity. You can choose to delete the initial curves or not. Offset on face will create offset curves that follow the shape of a face. If the curves do not lie on the face, they will be projected onto it in the direction of the face normal. You can specify an offset value both on the face and normal to the face. You can invert individual curves as well as all curves together. And you have the option of deleting the original curves if you want. The shape contour command creates curves that follow the contour of a shape as seen in the specified direction. In this case, we'll choose the x-axis direction. Section curve will section a shape using a specified plane. First, select the entities you want to section, and then choose the mode. Parallel will create section curves parallel to the selected plane. For example, in the y direction at the work plane origin. Multiple sections are created parallel at the specified distance. Radial mode requires a selection of an axis and an origin. In this case, I'll choose this line as an axis, and here's an origin. Multiple sections will be at the specified angle. And on curve mode will section on a plane defined by the normal of a curve and an origin. In this case, multiple sections will be made at the specified parameter. The center curve command will create a curve at the center of any shape that has an axis, such as a fillet, a cone, or a cylinder. A tolerance can be specified. The check consistency option will highlight the endpoints of the curve with a red point, and you can choose to include shapes with variable radii or not. That's the end of our lesson on curves. As always, please refer to the help menu for more information. Thanks for watching.